So the 2021 NFL draft has just concluded, and the Jets selected 10 players, 4 on offense, 6 on defense. The Jets selected their franchise quarterback. They selected a receiver, an offensive guard, a running back. They selected 3 safeties, 2 cornerbacks, and a defensive tackle. And overall, the Jets absolutely killed this draft. They picked 3 top 25 players, in my opinion. They picked a really solid running back, and they picked some linebacker depth. They picked up cornerback depth, and they also got a backup defensive tackle. Now, in this video, I'm going to be going over all of them and giving an accurate grade and just giving my opinion on all of them. With the second overall pick, the New York Jets select Zack Wilson out of BYU. Now, in my 3-round mock draft that I posted about a month ago, I picked Zack Wilson to go number 2 overall. I was correct about that. And Zack Wilson is probably a perfect fit in New York. So we're bringing over the 49ers zone run scheme. We're bringing over heavy play action offense at BYU. Zack Wilson flashed a ton of potential, and his arm ability is just insane. He has really good accuracy as well. He sees the field incredibly well. He did a lot of play action at a BYU. And a lot of his critics will say about that his competition was not very good. But I gotta be honest, anytime, any team, any place, if you're gonna play bad competition, you better play well. And he played very well against below average quote unquote competition. But he still played really solid teams. He played USC, as you can see in the clip here. He's well out of the pocket. His mobility is one of his strengths. And he makes awesome throws, just like this one at his pro day. And he shocked a lot of people over this year from coming off of injury, and he was just super good this year, and I love the pick. Zack Wilson has a ton of confidence in the pocket. He's not cocky. He doesn't take bad throws. He plays hero ball a tiny bit too much, but in the NFL level, I think he'll project pretty well, especially in this offense. On the ESPN scouting report, they have this at a 93 grade. I have this at an A+ grade. You get your franchise quarterback. He's a good scheme fit. I like his potential. He has awesome arm accuracy and talent. Strong arm gunslinger, perfect pick. The Jets traded from 23rd overall pick to the 14th overall pick. They gave up 2 third-round picks, which ended up being Kellen Mond and Wyatt Davis, and we got Elijah Vera Tucker. Now, Elijah Vera Tucker was the best guard in this draft. He was the most safe guard in the draft, and he has a lot of Pro Bowl potential. Now, he moved over to left tackle this year, and he was really solid at left tackle, and it shows that he is a super versatile player. And Joe Douglas loves versatility on that offensive line. Now, I think he's going to start at left guard and solidify that left side with Mekhi Becton for years to come. Now, Elijah Vera Tucker is very good in the run game as well as Mekhi Becton, and he is solid in the pass game. Now, the Jets did give up 2 third-round picks in the process of getting Elijah Vera Tucker, but I definitely don't mind that. He has Pro Bowler written a lot on him, and I think this is a definite solid pickup. Elijah Vera Tucker and Mekhi Becton hopefully will be protecting Zack Wilson for the next 10 years. Joe Douglas was pretty psyched about this pick as well, as you can see this clip. Now, shout out to MathBomb for the relative athletic score that I'm going to be using throughout the video. Elijah Vera Tucker scored 9.79 on his athletic score. As you can see, he's actually pretty quick. He ran a 5.13. That is close to Mekhi Becton. He had a 4.63 shuttle. He had a 32-inch vertical. He had a 8 feet broad jump. He comes in at 6'4". He has 32-inch arms, so he profiles more as a guard. He's around 310, and he benched 36 reps. So overall, he's really solid. He's a good athlete too, and he's versatile. Just what Joe Douglas likes. Overall, this is an A pick. I have to deduct A plus just because they gave up 2 third-rounders picks for him. But overall, super solid pick. You're protecting your franchise quarterback. This is the player that Joe Douglas loved, and he had him on his top 10. So overall, an A pick. The Jets, with the 32nd overall pick, selected Elijah Moore. Now, at the time, this was a bit surprising to me because I thought it was going to be Tevin Jenkins or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. But looking more into it, I love the Elijah Moore selection. He is a super fast, very sound slot receiver who has sure hands and who is an exceptional route runner. Elijah Moore was no doubt the best slot receiver in this entire draft. I mean, he was just a stud at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss kept on force-feeding him the ball because they knew he was their best player. This is most likely a Jamison Crowder replacement in the future. As you can see in this clip, Elijah is just taking ankles on an out route here, cuts back inside, gets him slipping. He was just so solid at Ole Miss. His route running, his feet are very solid. He has sure hands. Looking more into this, I absolutely love this pick. This is another first-round talent that fell to the second round. Absolutely incredible. It seems like a lot of people in the Jets organization wanted him to fall to 34 because in this clip you can see Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas' reaction.
How you doing, man?
I'm great now.
I tell you what, man, we were sweating this thing out, man. When we made the trade last night, we never thought this was gonna happen. We were not gonna pass you again. Elijah.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, man.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I'm telling you, we've been excited about this. I thought we lost you when we moved up, and I'm excited to get you here. We're excited to get you here. We got a heck of a foundation growing, man. It's gonna be fun. Feel me?
Yes, sir. I can't wait.
All gas, brother. Let's roll, man. Hey, I'm gonna pass you over to our
it.
owner. He's excited to talk to you too, man. We're pumped. Congratulations,
Yes,
brother.
Elijah, we can't wait to see you. As they said, we were afraid we were going to lose you, but you can see you got a new quarterback, so it's going to be really, really good for you.
Elijah, Christopher Johnson here. I can't wait to meet you. We are so looking forward to seeing you here, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Absolutely incredible reactions. With the Math Bomb score, he scored an 8.68. Now, his height coming in at 5'10" is not the greatest, coming in at around 180 pounds during his pro day, but I think he jumped up to 190 when he was drafted. He's decently strong. As you could see in one of the clips earlier, he just pushed the guy off the line. 17 reps on the bench. His speed is just bar none. I mean, he ran a 4.35 at his pro day. He also ran a 4 in the shuttle and a 6.65 in the 3-cone. I mean, this is why his route running is so elite. This is why he's so fast off the line. This is why he's insane in the open field. This was just an excellent pick, and he's a great athlete. This is definitely an A score for me. Elijah Moore was a definite first-round talent. He fell to the second round, and the Jets picked him up. If this would definitely been an A+ if Jamison Crowder wasn't on the roster, and if they had like a middling slot receiver, because I think Elijah Moore might start. He might win the job, but this is he'll definitely start in the second year, because if we brought in Elijah Moore, most likely we won't bring in Crowder, or we might trade him. But this is 100% A pick. This is an awesome pick. Love it. Zack Wilson gets another weapon. The Jets, with the second pick in the 4th round, went with running back out of North Carolina, Michael Carter. Now, in my mock draft, I had them going with him in the 3rd round, but he fell to the 4th. This was a great pick, and especially because Michael Carter is a scheme fit. He's not too fast, but he's so explosive. He doesn't have that home run hitting speed, but this is a great back, and this is a potential starting running back in year 2 or year 3. Michael Carter's greatest asset is his explosion and his vision. I mean, this guy is very good with his cuts. He is explosive out of the backfield. He can also catch out of the backfield. He's a solid running back blocker, and especially in this scheme where you need a running back to do everything, it's very good. And I think that he right now is running back 2 behind Tevin Coleman. I think that Tevin Coleman will start just because of his familiarity and that him being a veteran. But I think Michael Carter is 2, and I think that Ty Johnson is 3. This was my running back 4, but Trey Sermon went to the 49ers instead of Michael Carter. And I was a little bit shocked because I thought that Michael Carter was going to go in the 3rd round. That's why I had the Jets mocking him way earlier. But luckily he fell, and it was an overall great pick. Also, he has great contact balance. He did test poorly for Math Bomb's RAS score. His height was around 5'7", 5'8". He weighed 200 pounds. He only benched 16 reps. His vertical was only a 34, and he only ran a 4.5 40. But at the same time, his agility is insane. He was one of only 2 people to run a sub-4 shuttle. It was him and Jamar Chase, and his 3-cone was also a 6.83. Relatively, he has a lot of explosion, maybe not home run hitting speed. He's a little small, but he's still an overall good back, especially for the 4th round. I'm giving him an overall grade of an A-. Now, he gets boosted up a lot because he was drafted in the 4th round, and he also has potential to be the number 1 running back next year. Maybe not this year. I think he'll get a lot of reps this year. And it's just overall great value for the 4th round. You got my running back 4, who I thought could have went in the 2nd or the 3rd round, and he fits the scheme pretty well. I really like this pick, A-. The Jets went 4 offensive players in a row to help Zack Wilson, but with the 2nd pick in the 5th round, the Jets select Jalen Sherwood out of Auburn. Now, they announced him as a linebacker, and I think he'll be competing for a job at the will linebacker. He was a safety for 2 downs at Auburn, and then he would move over to linebacker on certain 3rd down packages. Now, he's a really solid tackler. That's the biggest thing on him. Mel Kiper said he was the best tackler in this draft, and I agree with that. I think he's very good at tackling. Sherwood on his profile was more of a box safety who would cover tight ends. You know, a will linebacker thing to do. He would cover tight ends. He would be in the box, rush the passer a little bit. He was physical. He is 6'2", 216. Now, in his interview, he said that he was able to fluctuate his weight, so he could jump down to 200 or something. He could go up to 225, 230. And I like that he can control that. Now, with his relative athletic score, he did not test very well, purely because he was a safety, and he measured in well, he weighed well, his vertical was okay, but his 40-yard dash, his splits were pretty bad, his shuttle was below average, and his 3-cone was poor. Now, if he profiled as a linebacker, which he does, and which the Jets selected him for, these would look a lot better, but as a free safety, those are bad. Overall, I think this is a solid B pick. You're picking him for linebacker depth. And in the 5th round, you really just want depth players. With the 10th pick in the 5th round, the Jets were like, hey, we liked Michael Carter so much, we'll just pick a twin. They picked Michael Carter II out of Duke. Now, Michael Carter II, I didn't know a lot about. I knew a lot about the other Michael Carter, but his draft profile says he is a versatile defensive back with short arms, excellent speed and good instincts. Now, I watched his interview, he said he was versatile. He played safety, he played in the slot, he could play cornerback, he was a return man, and he was a gunner. Now, I think he's probably going to be the other gunner role with Justin Hardy Sr., and with his relative athletic score, you could see that his size was poor, his weight was poor, his vertical was okay, he had a poor shuffle, he had an alright 3-cone, but you could see that his speed was elite. He ran a 4.36, and his 20 split was at 2.56. And overall, he's super fast, maybe not the most agile. He has poor size, so I think he'll fit in the slot pretty well. He'll either be a return man or he'll be a gunner. With the 31st pick in the 5th round, the Jets select Jalen Sherwood out of Pitt. Now, Jason is from Connecticut, and you have to rep the Connecticut boys. He's from Hartford. I'm from a little bit south of that, but Jason Pinnock looks really solid. He is 6 foot, 200 pounds. I see him as in the best scenario as an outside cornerback. He has good ball protection. He led the team with 3 interceptions last year, and he flashed in the run game. He's a hard-hitting cornerback as well, and he's pretty fast as well. And his length is probably his best attribute, which is something that Robert Saleh will love. As an athlete, Jason Pinnock is elite. He has good size, weighing at 6 foot, 205 pounds. His explosion is pretty good. He had a 40 vertical and a 10-foot broad. Overall, he is a very solid athlete, and I think that his potential is on the outside. Overall, right now a B pick, but in the future maybe a B plus A minus pick. Nassir Dean was picked with the 2nd pick in the 6th round, and Nassir Dean is a hybrid linebacker safety player. I heard a little bit about him before the draft started. You could see that with his draft profile, it says that he's 6'3", 215 pounds, and that he's a good box safety hybrid linebacker. He's like Isaiah Simmons, but not Isaiah Simmons. The type of player that Isaiah is Nassir Dean. Now, I think that Nassir Dean will play linebacker, either fight for the weak side linebacker or be a backup strong side linebacker next to Jared Davis. And overall, solid pick. As an athlete, his height is elite. He weighs in pretty well. He's strong. He didn't run a 40, and his vertical was below average. But he has 34-inch arms, and he is a average athlete. Overall, I think that Nassir Dean will play linebacker, and I think he'll be a backup one. I think he'll move around, maybe play a little bit of Mike, maybe play some safety if injuries happen. But I think this is a solid pick. I'm going to give it once again around a B and then potentially a B+. In my opinion, the first sus pick was Brandon Echols. Now, Brandon Echols is a pretty good athlete. He's undersized, and this was the 4th defensive back picked in a row. Now, I understand that Robert Saleh he's a defensive back specialist. He can build up a lot of defensive backs and make them look good, and I like that we went a lot of defensive players. But overall, he is an undersized 180-pound cornerback. His best fit will probably be in the slot. Now, I think he'll either fight for the job or be a backup. Now, this isn't the type of player that Joe Douglas loves and Robert Saleh loves, but I think they got him for a reason, and that's because he's an elite athlete. Now, he ran a 4.36 in the 40, same as Michael Carter. He had a 42.5-inch vert, and he had an 11 feet broad jump. Now, those are both very, very good. His height is a bit of a concern. He's only 5'10". He's only 180 pounds, but at the same time, he is super fast, and he's a good athlete, and he jumps pretty high, especially for his size. Overall, this is a B- grade, in my opinion. With the 23rd pick in the 6th round, the Jets select Arkansas's Jonathan Marshall. Now, I didn't hear a lot about Jonathan Marshall, but somebody that was on the board was Marvin Wilson. He signed with the Browns. Other than that, Jonathan Marshall is going to be a backup defensive tackle. Now, he's looking at his athleticism is extremely good. He is 6'3", 310, and he moves really fast, but he does have short arms, and he needs to develop some pass rush moves. I mean, just looking at this guy's athleticism is crazy. He had a 9.99. On Math Bomb, he was the 6th overall defensive tackle, athletic-wise, out of like 1,000 players. He's 6'3", 310. He repped 36 on the bench, 32 vertical, a 9-foot broad jump, but he ran a 4.88 as a defensive tackle at 310 pounds. That is just out of the world. And I don't know, he fell to the 6th round as this good of an athlete. That's crazy. So I'll give this a B grade. I think that he has potential as an athlete, but maybe not as a player. He's a solid athlete, just not great as a player. Overall, I think that the Jets did kill this draft. I mean, I'm giving this an A+. You get a quarterback with a super high ceiling. You get a Pro Bowl caliber guard, probably the safest guard you can pick. You get Elijah Moore, the best slot cornerback, a top 25 player. You get Michael Carter, a super solid running back that could be fighting for the starting job day one. You picked 4 secondary players, and you picked 2 great athletes. You picked a super athletic defensive tackle that is going to be a depth piece. You picked 2 hybrid linebackers, and you picked 2 players that'll probably fight for a slot spot. And then you picked a guy that will play probably on the outside. I think that Elijah Vera Tucker will play left guard. I think that Elijah Moore hopefully will either be the 4 receiver or will start in the slot. I think Michael Carter will be our second running back. I think Jalen Sherwood will fight for the weak side linebacker role. I think that Michael Carter will be a backup slot cornerback. I think that Jason Pinnock right now is a backup outside cornerback. Nassir Dean will be probably a backup linebacker. Brendan Echols will be a backup slot, and Jonathan Marshall will be a backup defensive tackle. Now, this draft showed me that Joe Douglas can draft like an MFer, dude. He manages to steal first-round talents, get really good value, and especially with the back half of the 5th round and the 6th round, him getting a lot of defensive backs, I think that Robert Saleh has a chance to at least build up either 1 or 2 of those players to be either really good depth pieces or solid starters. And I have high hopes for Zack Wilson. We're finally building around a good quarterback. We got a really solid guard. Our left side of the line is going to be set for hopefully 10 years. We got a really explosive running back, and we got a super good slot receiver. Overall, this was a really good draft class, and I'm so ready for this season to start. I'm so ready for training to happen. I'm so ready for practices. I'm so ready for these Jets hype videos. See ya.